The youngest of her family, a little latecomer, has been indulged by her mother and the grandmother who knitted her the red shawl that today has the ominous, if brilliant look of blood on snow.
The key to unlocking this for me was the idea of Angela Carter herself, was the idea of the narrator, the idea of the author, the idea of the older woman, and how we impart our experiences to the younger generation.
To be in a room full of just women making theatre, we have different conversations, we have different concepts of what femininity even is to us and how we explore that.
A project that just involves women instantly attracts me and what can come out of that and what we have to say as women about certain issues, whether it's fairy tales or all the political stuff that comes out of it is super interesting.
You know, I was brought up with Disney and all these very pretty and prim ladies in the big dresses and that's all they are. To hear more about the real women and the power of the woman and the darker side of a woman's mind as well as a man's, and I think that really excites me.
She really truly does give the voice back to women, because in the narrative sort of oral tradition of folk tales, she writes The Bloody Chamber from a retrospective narrative of the heroine herself and plays with the gender expectations, so that in the original Bluebeard it's the brothers who save their sister and she makes it the mother.
Brilliantly crafted when you go back and reread them on a much deeper level. Yeah, so I've really enjoyed it for that.
The most surprising thing about coming back to Angela Carter's work is how sexy it is.
What she does is she brings you in very quickly. So within the first couple of lines of the first story, which is The Bloody Chamber, she really kind of sets the world. She sets the idea of the version of Bluebeard. She sets the idea of this man who is older, who is enigmatic, and this young woman, and you think you know where it's going to go, and then it goes somewhere else entirely.
I read a lot of Angela Carter when I was young, and I think the imagery within the stories and her writing is really powerful and interesting and very visual.
We want fantasy and escapism. I think the world is a very unstable, weird, odd place. So why not take audiences somewhere even weirder? You know, we need to escape. We need to understand. That's what we do as human beings. Is we understand our current state through telling stories about it. And there's a great quote that says that fairy tales are the science fiction of the past. And there's that element of fairy tales being that great last vehicle for fantasy that hasn't really been mined. You know, we've gone through various sort of resurgences and renaissances of science fiction or of fantasy, you know, sort of Hobbits and Game of Thrones, but we haven't come back to the fairy tales in quite the same way. So there's something about reclaiming those.